right, I'm calling
He
to
said
order
it's
the
too
meeting
much.
of the Village of Sandalwood Lake South for
1,800
Thursday,
per tree is too much.
October the 19th, 2018. We'll take roll call. Mary Lou Barnes,
Present.
Randall Anderson,
Here.
Joseph Costello,
Here.
Larry Rocco here, Michelle Murray, Rebecca Basil,
Here.
Natalia Franklin.
Here.
Okay. All right, David, verification that the meeting was posted?
Yes, it was
Okay.
posted in all buildings.
Okay. And approval of the minutes from September the 20th. Anybody make a motion to approve? I will.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the special meeting minutes of November the 2nd?
October.
I'm sorry, October 2nd, getting ahead of myself, 2018. And make a motion that they approve.
Well, we just got these minutes. Is
Yeah,
there
we
anything
just
in
got
there
them.
that's important?
I
We
got
haven't-
mine early this morning.
Well, yeah, I just got mine right this minute.
Yeah, me too. I just got mine this minute.
Take a moment to read them. They're,
You didn't, you emailed them to everybody,
I
right?
did
No, okay.
No, she wasn't able to. She said before that
After I left
she could
the
only,
house this morning at 4:45.
Okay.
Can we change it?
Where are they?
Motion to change it.
Okay, just one.
are they in this packet you gave me?
No, she handed them out. The minutes for the special meeting.
Okay, I'm okay with this.
Here, Mary Lou.
Thank you very much. Did you get one, Natalia?
Yeah, motion, yeah. Yes, I
I got it.
did. There's I got it,
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
that's so small.
Did you get
Oh,
one?
this is the Alan Rawson meeting. Oh, okay.
Was this in the package?
no, it was not.
The letters from Rawson?
No, this is
Minutes.
what we had agreed
No.
to with Patrick Ungelhoffen,
Oh,
that we would settle for 20,000 in back assessments and forgive the balance.
Yeah,
And,
that wasn't in the package, so.
Okay.
If you could get a copy of that.
yeah, I don't know if you could read it or not. I'll send you a copy.
Okay, that's fine then. Is that what pretty much everyone's reading right now, or are we still reading?
I can pass it around, everybody can read it, it's just
Just a quick one.
20,000 plus November's $340 assessment.
Can we just, for Rebecca's sake, so she can take the minutes, can we just go ahead and first worry about approving the special minutes?
Mary Lou's still reading them.
Yeah, I'm trying to raise my hand to ask a question.
Yeah, that's all right, take your time, and then Larry.
I'm trying to get Larry's
What
attention.
is the question?
Okay. This is where we voted to further discuss, or that, what's his name, Rawson was going to modify.
We had already discussed it with Rawson, and this is the modification that we got now.
I don't see it. That was a single piece of paper.
No, the modification's in the packet.
It's in this packet you gave me? Okay.
Larry, what is this additional accrued per diem interest? That's reference in addition to this.
Yeah.
that affecting?
It's behind the work orders.
It says here that be advised
I
that
have
we
no
will
idea.
must receive payment of
Okay.
$20,000.
Why-
Draft number
Which
2.
is the current and the
Oh,
settlement amount.
wait, are you still
Plus
looking at the
any
minutes from the
additional
special
No,
meeting?
no, she's
No.
looking
We're
at
trying to get the minutes
That's
approved.
there.
That's what
Right,
we're trying
and
to
I
do.
just
This is what he's gonna
asked,
pay.
Larry asked me a
Starts
question.
there.
Anything
And
else
I answered it,
is,
and now
forget it.
David has shown me in the packet he gave me where
That's
this
what
is,
that
so
is.
I can read it.
have to do with?
Should.
I'm not
I
going to read it
really-
now,
I
I just
just
wanted to
wrote
be
down
sure
here
I
it does
had
Yeah.
it. David understood what I
States that
said.
there seems
So
to be
getting
an
tired of you
additional
finding fault with me,
accrued
sir.
per diem interest.
I'm
on the
asking,
before
what does it have to do
November
with
To this
11th,
email,
2018.
because
Oh, well,
this is
that's in
Rossum,
case
and
they
this
don't
is
close.
Rossum, so it's
But
Then
has
important.
there'll
nothing
be
to do with the
interest, but
minutes.
Sure it
they're ready
does,
to
this is
close.
the minutes
so
for the
this is-
special meeting.
Right,
Okay, that's Rossum.
but what does it have to do with that over there?
This is the rewrite that he did.
Right, but that has nothing to do with the minutes.
The minute, basically
The minutes are-
I think I'd like Larry to explain this to me as the president, please. I simply wanted to be sure
Right, yeah.
that this, that we agreed on last month, was now, we were in possession of the updated corrections.
Correct.
Once I knew that 5 seconds ago, I will now vote. Once you ask for a vote on the special meeting, I will vote. I didn't get my packet until right now, understand that, neither did
No,
Joe.
you got it by mail.
I can't access
But you
it at
still
work.
got it, you can
I
open it.
can't read it at work.
It's not our fault.
Do you earn a living at a job?
It's,
Do
ladies,
you?
ladies,
Listen,
How many hours do
All
you
right.
spend a day at work on
I'm
association?
gonna have to take control of the meeting,
Oh,
please.
that would be fine.
All
It's
right.
your job.
we have
So,
a motion on the floor.
we're gonna make a motion now to approve the October 2nd special meeting minutes. Anybody second the
You
motion?
seconded. You already seconded.
No, I said I made the motion.
She
No,
made the
you-
motion.
she made the
Michelle
motion and you
You
seconded it.
seconded. Okay? Yeah, right
That
now.
was on the first
It was
minutes,
on the
but
first one.
nevertheless, would you like to make the motion, Michelle?
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the special meeting.
I-
What's the date, October 2nd, or whatever? date it
October
was?
the 2nd. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hope everything else for the rest of the evening isn't going to be that difficult.
Jesus.
All right. I'm going to give my brief report, one of which is the letter that I passed around for everybody to read that Patrick is getting ready to close on Unit 5707. I signed off on it yesterday. And we will get $20,000 plus the first month's assessment for November of $340 at closing. Next thing I have to report on is the problem that we seem to have with a couple of unit owners where we extend an agreement. I can't give unit numbers or names, but we entered into an agreement where they would get on a payment plan and catch up with their past assessments. And in 2 cases, I have an email and a copy of a letter from the unit owner because they reneged on the original agreement. Now they want us to waive attorney's fees and interest and so on and so forth and set up another new payment plan for them. I'm not waiving anything. I'm not in favor of waiving anything, but we'll vote on it.
Can you give me a unit number?
Okay, may I ask you a question, Larry?
Yeah?
Okay, so this particular unit was one that we previously all agreed on the terms.
On a payment
of
plan.
The payment plan. And I'm not sure we can't say the unit number?
Yes, 5902.
You're not supposed to use the name, but you can use
We
the
can't use the name.
unit
All
number.
right. Well, it's 5902 then.
Okay, so 5902, my question is, when we voted, and I'm not sure if this is the same one, but when we voted, we all said that if we agreed on this, and then they defaulted once again, that basically all bets were off. Is this the same?
Well, that's the thing. I do have compassion. Now, these people were retired, and they had medical problems,
Okay,
and they got behind again, but we can't keep eating attorney's fees.
right.
And
How much are they behind?
over
It's in this.
almost $8,000.
So that's a substantial number.
Right. Now, my recommendation to the
What's the
board,
unit number?
block 5902.
Oh, yeah.
My recommendation to the board is that we set up another payment plan with them, but not waive any of the charges, because it's not fair to the unit owners that do pay their assessments to be paying attorney's fees for somebody that doesn't.
Can you put a default notice in there that if they default,
Well, what my thoughts are is we lien the property until they're caught up. And that's my
Is there
recommendation.
a mortgage on that property?
Well, it doesn't matter, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Their credit's not good enough to get a loan to pay us off. It states that in the letter.
But this is the second time since we've made, or this is. since
The
we
second
made-
time since this board's been in charge of the association.
Yeah, according to the financials, for the months of July, August, September, I guess we're saying, they have not paid the the 340, right? Isn't that what it is?
Right.
And plus they were, prior to that, over 90 days in arrears, $5,955.62.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't think we should set a precedent.
No, we can't. I mean, if we do it for one, we're setting a precedent where we would have to do it for everybody. We can allow them to enter into another payment plan, but we also have to lien the property to have some security,
Right.
because they haven't proven to us that they're going to honor any payment plan
Right.
even though they keep pleading and saying that they will, and, you know,
Well.
a million, I can read at least 10 excuses in here, but we just have to, look out for the entire community.
Well, and also we're paying Rawson over and over and over
Right,
again
exactly.
for the same.
So
And-
I make a motion that we vote on this, and my motion is that we lien the property, enter into another agreement. Now, they want to pay the $340 plus $100 a month. At that rate, it'll take
20 years?
7 years for them to catch up.
How old are they?
I don't know, Joe.
That's something I think is important.
But that's why I say lien the property, so we have,
How much will it cost us to lien the property? How much more will it cost us to lien the property?
it'll go on the tab, whatever it costs. We're not paying to lien the property. Whatever it is, that'll go on their account.
Right, but I just wondered
What
how much more.
happens, Larry, what happens if they default again?
File a foreclosure action.
Yeah, that's,
That's it.
I think that needs to be stated,
Right.
that they understand, I mean, I sympathize, I do sympathize.
I do too.
But we can't, if we do this for one, then we have to do it for everyone. And,
Can't
so,
discriminate.
I do think it's important, though, that we determine whether they have a mortgage on this.
I do too.
Because we're going to be in the same nonsense that we are before. The bank is going to be not responsible for anything, and we're carrying all the expense.
Not if we pass these amendments.
right,
Okay,
that's the whole thing.
let's hold.
Okay, so Larry made a motion to lien the property and enter into a new agreement, hopefully with the stipulation
Yeah,
that
and-
they default on the payment plan.
And I think we need
We take
more
the
than
unit.
an additional $100 a month.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think it should be 200 a
I
month,
agree with
minimum.
you, Joe. We should look into whether there's some more.
I just think that this issue with what you're saying regarding the new laws,
Right.
this is an old unit that has been in place, and the problem been in place prior to this. So I don't see, maybe these new rules will not apply to them. And I don't know whether or not, I think it would not hurt us to at least find out what is our exposure.
Okay, let's assume there's no mortgage. I'm saying there must be a mortgage, but if there's no mortgage, then what's your proposal?
Proposal then is to go ahead and try to give them new terms, and if they
Yeah.
fail, we lien it, foreclose it, and take it over and sell it.
Well, we can still foreclose on it before any
You
bank
can't sell it if
forecloses
the bank
on it.
owns it.
That's right, we don't want to get in that position again. We've had enough of those.
Your bank isn't gonna be the one that's gonna sell it, not us.
Well, like I said, if, who knows how long they've owned, I'm trying to look up right now, just for the heck of it, to see if I can find,
Me too,
any
but I don't have
information
them.
on their
I
property.
also think we ought to know how old they are.
My last name.
I mean, if we're extending a loan of $8,000, we ought to know what their expectancy is of repayment.
They're retired, and it's none of our business how old they
Can
are.
I see?
It's our business when it comes to whether or not they can pay over a given period of
Yeah.
time at $100 a month.
Can I see that letter?
Also make sure they don't have a reverse mortgage.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
I think the mortgage information first.
Well,
before we-
they clearly state
before we put a
that they
lien.
can't get a loan to pay us.
Well, that's right, because they may have a mortgage and they may have a second mortgage.
or they may have it paid off and have a reverse mortgage.
They obviously have bad
If they're
credit.
senior citizens, they may have a reverse mortgage.
Or are they late? Are they behind, on the mortgage?
Yeah, I think, Joe, the mortgage search is the most important
I
place to
think we ought to
start.
know, just to be
Something like
certain.
that.
Well, it makes it clear for us where we go.
And if it's a reverse mortgage, we're locked out,
Yeah,
because they can't
yeah.
be thrown out.
Okay, guys, who will do that? Let vote for that. It's a good idea.
Well, Cam's, you have the ability, Cam's has the ability
So
to
here it is.
investigate if there's a mortgage. Cam's has that ability.
Yeah, hi.
According to the county, property appraisers, website, the unit is what, it's called a life estate, so the individuals that are in there have had life estate since 1998. So it's probably one of those things where the kids have the unit in their names, but the parents have, full use of the place until they pass on.
Then they're playing you.
Well, she says here that they're current with their taxes.
Well, they probably are. They are taxes. However, it was purchased for them, and they bought it in 1986 for $59,000.
That was the cost.
That's right.
So I say, not for nothing, but more than likely the unit is paid for,
I would think
unless
so.
they can finance it, which may not show up on this site. They used to show the mortgage information. They no longer do. However,
Put the link.
But they could have refinanced too, Michelle.
right, they could have. No, like I said, they used to show it. They don't
No,
anymore.
but they could have refinanced and have a current
But they've
mortgage.
owned this unit. They've owned this unit since 1986 in one way, shape, or form.
And she has family. And she has family.
Right. So I would have to say that not for nothing, but
Put the lien on it at least.
Yeah.
it's not fair to the
Before we
rest
know if there's a
of the
mortgage?
unit owners to carry somebody else's assessments to the tune of $8,000-$9,000.
Right.
Yeah. May I jump in just to give you a personal? I bought mine in 1990 for $62,000. It was 4 years old. I refinanced 15 years ago, did a 15-year refinance because I gutted the kitchen and the bathrooms, and I put 20,000 plus into the house. So they may have done the same thing. And so that's why I was saying, let's be sure that their mortgage is paid in full, that they're not with the second mortgage, or as David said, a reverse mortgage. I think we should clarify that. And then put a lien on it if there's no complication.
Guys, everybody agree on that.
We
Okay.
need a lien anyhow, one
Yeah.
way or another.
Yeah.
Everybody
We do
agree.
need the
Let's
lien.
vote. We
Yeah.
go
We
to
can
another
go forward
question.
with the lien, I think.
Okay, so Larry made a motion to lien the property and enter into a new agreement.
I'm second
A
motion.
new amount of
$200 a month.
$200 a month.
Plus their,
Plus 340,
plus
plus
assessments.
340, yeah.
I'd second that.
Okay,
Natalia already had.
Okay, all in favor? All in favor?
all in favor?
I,
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask?
Okay, the next one is Unit 5031.
Okay,
Again, wanting us to waive all the late fees and interest and attorney's fees. They're only behind $2,700.
For how long?
It really doesn't tell me that here, it just said that they're back over 2,700 in assessment.
Well, do 340 a month times 12 months.
Yeah,
You have an idea.
Maybe 10 or 12 months.
Right, less than a year.
But again, why should we be waiving the attorney's fees and the assessments?
No, but don't put a lien on it.
We could waive interest if anybody wants to waive the interest, but
How much is the interest
How
on it?
much are we talking about?
Yeah, how much is it?
900 in interest.
We could waive that.
Waive the interest and let them pay everything else.
I mean, again,
So what are they proposing to pay for it though?
So,
That's what
Michelle,
you
hold
said.
on. Michelle's trying to say something.
go
no,
ahead.
and I mean, I get it, and I understand, but you know, if we keep saying, oh, it's okay, you don't have to pay this, and oh, it's okay, you know, who are we to say, oh, it's okay, because I've got to pay it, Becky's got to pay it, every single person in our association has to pay for that. You know, whether it's 10 cents or 12 cents or whatever their share is. You know, it's like, people need to understand that we are all responsible for our own assessments. And if we stick our head in the sand and then, you know, 12 months later say, oh, now I want to, you know, deal.
May I ask, Larry, what was the reason why did they give us an explanation as to why they fell behind?
No explanation.
Okay.
It just said, this gentleman called on August the 10th, asking that the board waive all fines.
No, fines, it's okay maybe.
And in return for what?
He just wants us, and then
Oh, the hell with
and then
that.
please see the breakdown fees below and advise if you would like
That's what I was asking if he's
See,
For them to
may
proceed.
may I jump in on one thing
Hey,
here?
I'll pay you what I owe you, but can you knock off the, okay, sure, that's a deal.
May I just jump in a minute? I just did the math. 340 times 12 is $4,080 a year. So they're only behind 2,700, so they're only behind about 6 months. So I think we should work with them and hope that they pay it off quickly.
Can I see that?
If they're only behind 6 months, maybe
Yeah,
they've had a
yeah, yeah.
family issue, a health issue, lost a job. I don't think we should waive anything. I think we should just say to
No,
them,
but lawyer's fee,
okay.
it's not, we should not waive lawyer's fees, but
Right,
fine,
right.
we can waive.
We can waive the fine, not the
Is that
legal
what you
fee.
wanted me to see this?
Is that something we should know about?
Yes.
What?
Randy, you say it.
What?
What is the information that you're sharing amongst yourselves?
I think that's something that Larry's talking about, this letter, that this guy wants to
Yeah, but
waive the fees.
is there something that yellow?
No, it's just the name that is fine.
Oh,
Got a nice email from him one time about our meeting.
That's the guy who wrote Randy the email, the rude email that.
Well, on second thought,
What's this unit number we're talking about on this one?
5031.
Double his fees.
Okay.
Oh, he's asking to waive violation.
Mine.
$1,000.
fines, yeah,
$1,000. So
For-
that's what
for
we're
parking.
talking about?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you guys said he was in arrears for assessments.
Well, I thought
27.
1,000, how did 1,000 get up to 2,700? He must be.
Are we talking 5031 you said?
Yes.
On the aged report, they show $2,018 with, it's gone to the attorney Rossin.
How much? What?
Only $2,018.
Balances, assessments 1,700, administrative fees 150,
Well, I'm just looking at today's aged
some other
report.
attorneys and interest, for a total of 2,738.
Yeah, but the actual association dues is 2018.
Oh, this is showing 1,700.
Well, this is today's financials, September 30th financials, 5031.
This is from the attorney though.
so what are the fines for, do we know?
Well, for parking. So they're writing to request to waive the fine of $1,000 for parking violations. So in other words, it went 100, he ignored
Do you remember
parking.
that? Parking violations, do you remember that?
I don't remember which month it was, which it came
Ran up a
out.
lot of tip on that, huh?
5031.
10 days.
Okay, let,
Nope, I say we don't waive anything. I say we are the hard ass association that we need to be.
Yeah, like he was given plenty, I mean, before he gets fined, he had to ignore it for at least 90 days, right, Dominic?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
yes.
No, but
So-
how old the guy? Maybe he's, we don't know his
How many
health
times do we
conditions.
do we find him, Dominic?
I don't know, I mean, it's.
It's $1,000 maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to
like-
$1,000.
that's-
Maximum that way.
It's $100 a day,
Yep.
$1,000 maximum. So
Yeah.
Because
$100
sometimes
a year.
people don't
He
open
just let it
maybe.
go, he's running around.
Yeah, well,
He's
when
getting
you
the
know-
notices.
Yeah.
But if he did not pay it, maybe person was sick or something, did not open his mail. We don't know what happened really. I think.
You guys are the ones who are always like.
No.
sticklers for money.
I
Let's not
find
give
the
our-
people.
Let's not give money back.
No. But we did not lost money. It's fine. It's just fine. Be kind a little to
Excuse me,
people.
I'm looking at this month's financials that I got tonight, Rosset and Burr. There is no 5031 in his, that I have found, and I'm still looking.
Do you have
Is that the
some?
wrong address that's on that letter? Could you-
No, because the financials say 5031.
Randall, do you have some problem with this guy or something? You guys have problem because
There's
it is all
50
you wrote the mail or something.
I don't
5147.
have a problem.
If you have
I'm still
problem
looking,
against,
they're not in alphabetical
Tell
order.
Did I say I had a problem?
no, tell everybody what happened so we know if somebody write you the mail.
Did not
Just
make
like-
assessments
I
before.
thought it
No,
was
those
just
are
like
lease
that.
expiring. It's not on Rosset and Burr's current
Well-
list. This one,
From last,
the September, that unit is not on Ross's current list that I got tonight. The one that's called the owner is in lien or foreclosure list. He's not on that, even though it says in the financials that it went to Rossum.
Maybe for a letter,
Yeah.
a default letter.
Yeah, yeah.
Your owe money letter. Doesn't have to be in-
Right, but it's
We know
not,
whether or not this is true.
Or
not true. I don't know.
yeah, I understand the difference, but I'm saying maybe we just
All right, we don't have to do anything on it. right?
work with them,
So,
so we don't have to pay the lawyer more.
what's anybody's thoughts on, we'll waive the $1,000
For the parking
as long as he
violation.
gets current with anything else that he owes us.
Yes,
In full.
yes.
No
So,
payout.
I'm sorry, I'm not clear, exactly what it was he was fined for. Were they multiple fines?
It was a parking violation that he ignored.
Okay,
Too many vehicles, I guess.
Well,
okay,
we
but then
don't
it went
know.
to the attorney.
Right.
Then he got a letter from the attorney,
On the,
right?
Yeah, and
And
then,
he-
you know, that puts attorney's fees on there. I mean, they're not a lot, but,
And then he ignored that? I mean, like I
well,
said,
no, he didn't ignore that. He sent the attorney
You don't recall?
a request that we waive
Too many.
the $1,000 fine.
Well, you know, if we were to waive the fine, I still think he should pay the attorney's fees.
what's the other
I agree.
$1,700? Is that the attorney's fees and?
Well, I think 1,700 was assessments, is what I would think. It says assessments.
Well, I think that I think there's gotta be a fine. I think $100 should be kept, okay, and we can waive the rest of it.
I want half of it.
But there's gotta be a fine because we don't want precedent where we
Okay,
waive fines.
$100,
Especially this year.
$100 it's
I agree
reasonable,
with
yes.
that, Okay, so we say $100.
Wait a minute, what, Michelle?
Did he go before the compliance committee?
Yes, it had to before finding.
But Dominic is here and he does not have recollection of the unit number, but they've missed a couple of monthly meetings. We haven't had the compliance meeting.
Right,
He
right.
may not be in compliance.
So
with
he
the
may-
parking still. He may still have 3 vehicles.
Dominic is saying he may still be in non-compliance
Yeah.
with multiple
So why not
vehicles.
reward him for still?
So we should investigate
check on
that
that and-
before
and-
we rescind it.
Make a decision. I mean, we're not rushing.
Yeah,
Right.
because if he's still
We're in no
parking,
hurry.
don't
I-
All
wait
right,
for him.
I'll do a little more, I'll get a little more involved in this and get some more answers, and then I'll send everybody an email.
Okay.
And you know, if I can say, when we started out, one of the things that has really stopped a lot of people from doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing was the fact that they knew they were gonna be charged for. They knew they were gonna have to be in
But we don't do for everybody. It's situation that person did not pay 6 months. It means maybe something happened. We must listen, be a little compassion to people. Maybe he was sick. Maybe who knows. We need to find out what happened with the guy. Right
The
away, crucify
compliance, but the
everybody.
failure to comply. we need to
$100
investigate.
fine, we
Why
can
isn't he
leave.
showing up to the
His
meeting and
parking has
asking?
nothing to do with his assessments. You can be blind to your assessments and park in your spot. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, but
that-
we don't know whether the money that he owes, according to Rawson, includes the failure to comply, plus behind the
Let's move on to
maintenance.
the next matter.
See, that's what we
Doesn't
got.
matter.
All right.
We're not gonna
Okay,
make a
okay.
Yeah, we're not making a decision, so we're moving on here. Next thing is the, let me see here. Okay, review of violations. I was given 14 violations this month. 12 of them were for shrubbery touching the mansards. I think it's foolish to fine somebody for that, although there's 2 of the 12 that have ignored it since July. So anything in like August or September, I'm giving them time to correct it. But from July, they're still ignoring it. I said, give them a fine.
Well, look, Larry, I have someone who does mine every 90 days. That would have been July, August, September. He just did them yesterday in October.
But you would have called him and said, listen, I got violated.
Well,
Please come and do them
No,
right now.
what
because I'm
happened
getting a
was,
fine."
when
You would've called-
Anthony, what's his name, took
Right.
over in
What are the
compliance,
units, Larry?
I
What
contacted
unit numbers?
CAMS and said,
The
I
unit
have it
numbers are
professionally
on the
done every 90 days. I never got another failure to comply because I do have it done every 90 days. So I think 90 days is fair for growth.
Vegetation.
That means 4 times a
but
year
also
somebody has their,
Lease expiration.
Right.
So they're ignoring 2 different things. So that's been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, since July. That's why I said give
that's-
those
that's-
a fine.
July to August to September, it's not
Yeah,
even
I
a full
agree.
3
David,
months
do you
yet.
have
But
the,
one question,
number,
can
the
I ask
unit
question?
numbers? Do you have that unit numbers in with you?
For the,
For these
Violation.
units we're talking about?
with the shrubs?
Oh, there's multiple
12 of
ones.
them.
There's
a
so
lot.
many.
We
Oh
don't
my
have
God.
time to go
No,
through
no, I thought
every
that,
one.
no, you mentioned 2, and that was that.
Well, no, there's
2 that would
2
have
from
to
July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That they still haven't complied.
that they still haven't
One
complied.
question, can I
Owners
ask
absent
question?
or owners
Mary Lou,
present?
let me ask question, because it's
Yeah.
people asking. Because sometimes people has some little hedges that a little very soft with flowers. I have a neighbor, 65, 13. She has beautiful yellow flowers. It is very soft, very tender, that a little limbs or something. If they touch a little from inside the fence, touch a little fence, is it bad or not? Because if she cut, she just remove all beauty, of that bush. It's not damaging the fence because
Well,
it's so
we're not
thin,
complaining about the fences. It's pretty tough to stop vegetation from touching the fence.
Yeah, exactly what I was.
But the mansards are 10 or so feet off the
But-
ground.
Especially
she
if it's like
has-
this bougainvillea that will lift that right up. So lift
But
the
they
bougainvillea
send
right
her,
up.
she has in the corner, she does not touch the mansard. It's what on the opposite corner. She got
Is it someone has a violation for that?
she got violation. It is beautiful flowers. Now she not need castrate that flowers. How she remove it? It's very thin. It's thinner than straw for that drink.
All right, well, 2 of the
It should be clear.
14 are gonna get a fine anyhow.
It's
And,
6513.
Let
Yeah,
them-
it's
Let
on
them
here.
get in
It's on.
compliance.
Yeah, I
and we
see,
may
but
waive it.
she not touch mansard.
All right, we're moving on. It's time for you, Michelle, for the treasurer's report.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
It says next action,
Okay,
July
I
20th.
will
Did we
copy
take
this
the
to you
next
later,
action?
Rebecca. September balance shows our total assets at $1,151,028.19. Our total accounts receivable is $184,942.18. This is a decrease from last month of $2,276.12. Also, with the pending sale that Larry had discussed earlier with Udendorfer, and I believe we're near that should reduce our accounts receivable and monies owing to the attorney and interest and all those other things significantly. I'm guessing, with the 20,000 from Lundoffer and then maybe, I don't know what the other one would come to, but maybe $40,000, which we can definitely use. To date, we have a total cash reserves of $620,000, 403.13 cents. With regards to the budget preparation, I'm still working on that. I had a good conversation today with Earl. We have some projects that are pending, and just estimates in these areas. We still have about $351,000 of contract repairs. We have drainage issues that we, had discussed of $480,000. Cleaning of the mansards, $46,000. Trimming of the hardwood trees, $40,000. Trimming of the palms, $27,000. And Mary Lou, you might remember this number, but painting of the balconies, did we ever get a number on that?
I don't believe so. I believe we just all agreed that it was a good idea and we were going to further discuss it. And I've forgotten if that was Joyce or Dee Dee, to tell you the truth.
I know that I remember talking about it, but I don't remember if we ever got a number.
No, it's just they haven't been painted since 2007.
Right.
And I thought that they should be done. Just
Okay.
looking at my own and other friends,
Right. So, considering all these things as we look forward into this continuing, to next year's budget, that's a significant amount of cash that, the trimming of the hardwoods, the palms, the balconies, are really considered maintenance. But you've got, nearly, over $750,000 we were to address in the contributions. That's a pretty significant addition to the budget. So, again, we're taking all these things into consideration. Also, we can anticipate, although we don't know yet, what the increases might be in our insurance premiums. And if you consider now that, Michael just hit the Panhandle and 4 other states, the insurance companies are probably just foaming at the mouths, wondering how much they can increase everybody's premiums.
Yeah, the thing is this though, I've already looked into that with my homeowner's insurance, and because we're west of 95, they told me that they're not expecting to raise my homeowner's insurance for 2019.
Let's hope they feel the same way about our association, because
Yeah,
last year
well, we have to fight for it.
Yeah. Increase, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm still working on getting all that information, and David, I know you're gonna help me with that, so thank you for that. But, just to keep in mind as we go forward, we're gonna have some really hard choices to make, because the cost of everything, again, continues to increase. And if we keep our monthly assessments at $340
We have to.
a month, considering the increases that we are facing, considering some of the big ticket items that we have to pay for as our community ages, we're either going to look at shooting ourselves in the foot, or we're going to be looking at special assessments. So that's just something I want all of us to keep in mind, over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. May I ask, just jump in on one item. This proposed on tonight that we're going to vote on removing the 18 plus one other tree,
Right.
19
Right.
trees. Now, we have money in
Yeah.
reserves so that doesn't need to come out of operating, correct? That could come out of...
Not worried about that. Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, that's a sum of money that should not come out of operations because we have it in reserves.
Right. Correct. It's already accounted for. We have those dollars. And
Okay.
just like, for instance, when there's the reserve item of trees and infrastructure.
Right.
With some of those issues where we have plumbing because
Right.
of the trees and infrastructure,
Right.
Those dollars should come out of that reserve account and not just out of our standard operating.
In other words, when a ficus tree roots interfere with plumbing, any
Yeah.
kind of water line or whatever, we could use that infrastructure
Yeah.
cash that we have in reserves. I don't know that, but it sounds interesting.
No, but I mean, I think that that's correct. And also, you know, looking at that, considering that we are going to be spending, you know, upward of $200, maybe $25,000 just repairing the fences and painting them and all that, we're going to deplete that fund in reserves for fencing. So we need to consider that it's take us probably 5 to 7 years to refund that reserve account so that at the end of that life expectancy of those fences, that we, again, have those funds readily available.
Correct. But also,
Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, but also when we did do the fences the last time, we did do a special assessment.
Right.
And that's probably what we'll be facing 4 to 7 years from now, or 5 to 7 years from now.
Well, and then the
Maybe
question
sooner.
becomes-
Yeah, maybe sooner.
Is it easier to increase, $10 to $15 a month and put that money in reserves? Or is it easier for somebody to get hit with a $2,000 assessment? That's a question.
Well, what I would love to see, and I know you're working hard on the budget, I would love to see where we don't have to assess, okay? Because I would love to see our bottom line, our aged report. If that drops below 100,000, we are in very good shape. And then I think we'll have a more positive attitude about the possibility of either raising the maintenance or a special assessment for an urgent project.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that get below 100 before we burden anybody with more debt.
Right. And I think that it's working out in our favor as time goes by. And again, that's why sometimes it's good to draw a hard line. Because if people understand that you can't have a $400 cable bill and then just not pay your monthly assessment.
Exactly.
You know, that when they realize that there are choices to be made, you might have to go without the HBO, the Showtime, and all those channels. You might have to take those dollars and put them to your priorities, which
Right.
would be
Right.
your assessment.
And if
So,
you can't afford
yeah.
to live here, you shouldn't live here.
Thank you.
Right.
Seriously.
That's right.
And if it's too much,
Agreed.
$340 is too much for anyone a month, they shouldn't live here.
Well, it's $340 plus a mortgage plus homeowner's insurance. It's not just $340.
It's a lot of
It
money.
costs a lot to live here. It costs a lot to live here.
Which is one of the important things that's in these changes to our documents, if everybody read them.
Right.
That we have the right to turn people down from buying units in here if we feel they can't financially live up to their obligations to the association.
And honestly, you're doing them a favor as well.
Right.
I had a neighbor that bought in here and was in trouble from the minute she bought in here, and it's heartbreaking. It really is, because she was excited about living here, but she was stressed out the entire time.
Yeah.
And because she couldn't maintain that lifestyle. So,
Right. Okay, Michelle, thank you. We're going to move on now to David for his manager's report.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm not gonna go through the financial summary, she did a good job on that. September financials were electronically sent to everybody, and Mary Lou's got hers.
Thank you.
Delinquency report is attached to the financials. The lease report, we've got three leases that expired this month so far, and letters were sent out to them already. And I'm gonna try and do that at least once a month, go through and get the letters out quickly, so hopefully we can get these returned and not have 200 of them on our delinquency report. Work order report, we've got 42 outstanding work orders I think most of those are done. I have to get a hold of the contractors, have them send me a list of what has been completed. I just haven't had a chance yet in the last 2 weeks to follow up on it and make sure the work order list should not be that long.
Because I think, Joe, something with plumbing is still on there from you, at least it was last month, that probably had been taken care of.
Yeah, I believe it has.
So it was still on that's what he's saying, there's some stuff that needs to be cleaned up off of that.
So I'm already starting on that. Got emails into the contractors to have them just send me copies of the work orders that they have completed already.
And they finished that roof repair, which they had in Mansard.
That was a couple months ago, right?
It's about a month and a half.
So their administrative prepared the meeting package, which lets you know I haven't been a property manager a long time. I've been maintenance supervisor for years on condo associations. I've been doing the board meetings for about a year. This is a pretty intense package, but it's wonderful. It's really helpful to keep everything organized and everybody informed of what's going on. Spoke with several homeowners, emails and phone calls about maintenance issues and complaints and trying to get everything rolling in the right direction. A lot of the complaints lately have been noise complaints from renters, or about renters. So I'm trying to direct anybody who's not reporting it. 1 o'clock in the morning, somebody's playing bass so loud it wakes you up in the morning and it goes on for an hour and a half. They didn't call the police.
They didn't call the police.
No, they have to call the police. We can send a letter, but they're going to have to call the police. So I've
Well,
informed them.
are you referring to 5107 51st Way, which was a new complaint about noise?
That could be one of them, yeah.
Yeah,
That-
because
I've had a few of them.
the homeowner, I had said, did you call the police? And he did not. He sent an email to Larry and to me because he knows me, I'm his neighbor, and he sent it to Larry. But he did happen to bump into that person, one of the people living in
Yeah.
5107. They're renters. And they basically apologized for the noise.
Okay.
They were out on their patio.
That's good.
With what's it called, surround sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, with surround sound, yeah.
If they acknowledge,
Well, let's see if it stops.
Yeah,
I
see if
told
it
John Rosie to let me know if it starts up again.
Okay.
Or to let Larry know.
We made up flyers for the painting projects, getting everything posted with that. Had to increase the credit limit at the Home Depot line of credit from 3,000 to 10,000 so that we would have enough to order enough lumber and enough paint. That was done this week. We opened the Home Depot
Revolving line.
Pro extra.
Pro Extra account, which gets us an extra 20% off of what we ordered. So that's a big savings there. We got that all lined up this week. Got both contractors on the account so that they can go in and pick up the wood after I order it and pick up the paint, or the paint's getting delivered to the site. Pick up, and they cannot, the way it's set up is they cannot order it, they can go in and pick it up, or they can go in and get 30-pound bucket of screws they will not let them take it out of the store until they contact me and I approve it.
Good.
So any sale, because we ordered the paint today, they called me this afternoon from Home Depot, said, is it all right to put this through? So-and-so is here, ordered it for Sandalwood Lake South fence project, yep. So it's pretty tight reins on that.
I just, before you go on with that too, just I want to make sure, because you guys write checks for payment on the credit card, right?
They make the checks and we
Yeah.
sign them, yeah.
So, you would pay in full each month, correct? That statement
Yes,
comes in, you pay for it in full, right, to avoid
Yeah.
any kind of interest, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, that kind of defeats the purpose of our discounts that we're getting.
exactly.
You know, rather
And
than,
David, may I interject? I do have a question for you because all of the fence repairs and such is coming out of the monies in reserves.
Correct.
Yeah.
So are we making sure that those checks are on a account and not just out of operating? And if you would just make a note to ask Earl about that, because I know, there should be a checking account for
Right.
one of the institutions where we have reserve accounts.
Correct.
Okay, I'll talk with
One thing
Earl.
we don't want it to do is hit our operating account until all those funds for that line item are exhausted.
Yeah. Good
Okay.
point, Michelle, good point.
It's
Yep.
probably gonna be it's gonna be a little bit of a pain, probably, or maybe they just take the money out of the reserve account and put it into the operating
Right.
account and do it that way.
I re-
However they wanna do it, but I wanna make certain.
I recall, Michelle, when we did the painting of the exterior of the buildings and took it out of reserves, it was moved into the operating checking account or whatever. But that's going back to 2007. But that is how it was handled back then.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure there was something that was keeping me up at night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Also, okay, fence project's underway. I didn't put in here about the pump houses.
Yeah.
Little behind schedule on it, but the pump houses have started getting primed today. He said he'll have them done by Monday, all 4 of them. And he'll be starting, that is, Mark Jaworski. He's working on those. He'll be starting over at 51st Way
Right.
next week, hopefully Wednesday. So we're gonna try and get notices out tomorrow to the people on 51st Way to let them know that.
Have them start on 50th. That's
But
the
I thought-
first street.
But I thought there was already a phase of 66 or something.
66 is another contract.
Oh, okay,
He
so we're-
You
started,
have 2 contractors, yeah.
he started this week.
But 50th would be the first. That's the first street in the community, 50th Way. I mean, when you say
Okay.
51st, that's where the pump house is. But 50th, I mean, I live on 51st, but if you want to keep it for,
He just,
yeah.
I think. I
But
don't know
no, but
why.
I'm just saying, 50th is the first
Yeah.
street in the community. So if he wants to start at that
I'm
end.
sure there's a plan in place.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure there's.
David happened to mention 50 starting on 51st.
But I'm
That's
sure
why I
there's-
brought it up.
Let's not micromanage every.
I'm not micromanaging, I'm asking a legitimate question.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and he's gonna start on that end, Mary Lou, 50, 51,
Right,
work his way west.
around, right,
Landau's starting on 68, working his
66.
way east.
right.
He's actually
right.
on 66, because that was the farthest one out.
Okay.
He's working his way across.
Okay,
And that's why he was gonna start at 51st, because he started at the farthest point west, and he was gonna work east,
Yeah.
and then work his way around the,
Did you see my email that I suggested keeping
about the,
an Excel spreadsheet that we could
spreadsheet.
all access to look at, not necessarily like have writing right to it. For us all to keep track of it, even going forward years from now, that we'll say, this is when it got, we could go back and look at it and know who's been pressure cleaned, who's been painted, who's been paid, who's been, just try to keep it clean, like, because how will we know, 2 years from now, which contractor did which?
right.
I mean, you have to go back and look. I just think one place that we can all have access to look and
Okay.
see a,
Yeah, and it'll be easier to keep track of. That's
Yeah.
why I had one start at one end and one at the other.
Do the
And then-
do the contracts, is there a warranty on either for 2 years or 3 years or something for the paint?
The manufacturer
The manufacturer.
provides the warranty.
Okay,
on
but
the paint.
is it in writing? Do we have it in writing? So that if 2 years from now, some of the fences look like hell, we know which of these vendors to go to.
Well, it's
and-
bare wherever we got the paint.
Yeah, but we're gonna keep track, like you're saying, or Becky's saying, keep track of which painter painted those streets.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that if
I will.
one particular area starts to look like heck,
yeah.
then,
now, do you know how to use that share, like the 365 or whatever?
Google Sheets.
The Google sheet, Google share sheets or whatever, do you know how to use that?
Not yet,
But do you know how to,
I do.
you know how to use Excel?
yes,
Okay,
somewhat.
it's the exact same thing. And I can help, I can work on it with you, or Wayne can, or whatever, just to know that it's getting filled out maybe weekly, or whenever you guys are actually
It's a
writing.
spreadsheet that can be accessed by whoever's connected to it.
Okay.
Well, I would imagine that too, when they invoice us for the work done, all of that information is gonna be information that can populate the Excel spreadsheet too, right?
Yeah.
Like, say, okay, this unit only has
Now,
3 boards.
now
Like,
keep in mind that CAMS allots so many hours per week under our contract. If we're gonna ask for special things and it exceeds those hours, we're gonna be paying for it.
Well, but
They
I
have
have
to
to
keep track of who
Well, they can keep track, but
Yeah.
I'm just making a point here.
Right.
I'm
But
not
that-
contesting anything, I'm just saying, remember, we have a contract, so many hours, so much money. So
But you know,
if they can't do it in that number of hours, and they have to put extra hours in, I'm sure I'll get a call letting me know that if they're gonna exceed the hours, is it okay?
yeah, and I understand, Larry, I agree, although I do think that digitally and electronically, they're smart enough to figure out a way that they could even link the invoices to that Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, they may be able to do that.
They can take the information from the invoice, pop it right into that spreadsheet, and then there's half of your work David already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It automatically
I'm
goes
trying to
there.
talk to Jennifer about that. Jennifer's still your bookkeeping
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
Jennifer
I
Marchman.
can talk to her and see what she can do, because a lot of that information could come directly from the invoice.
Right, that'd be a big help if you could do that, talk to her about that.
Well, and that's something that could be done, is that it could be stressed to the vendors that they must, on an invoice, list every building number that they completed.
Yes, that
Right.
would be,
And then that way, we have that advantage. We have it in
Right.
writing. We have it in writing from them,
Right.
October 1st, they completed units, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
will not
I
take too
agree.
much time.
Well, no, but the point is
I
that
think
if,
once we get it set up,
Yeah,
it
they
won't be,
have to know.
it won't be
They
bad
have to
at
know
all.
for their own purposes.
oh, we have an hour.
Move on.
So they know, and then we can,
40,
and then we
45
can
minutes, 50
also
minutes.
use that, so somebody's saying, hey, I used, 600 pieces of wood, and then all of a sudden we get a bill for 800 pieces of wood, it's like, wait a minute, we only bought 600.
Right,
Exactly.
okay.
So each invoice must state the units done. Okay.
Yes, trust but verify, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Wait a minute, so David, are you finished with your report, or are you still?
Just quickly, the rosin and burr collection report is included
Right.
in the package. I've retained 2 bids for the ficus tree removal. It's 19 trees total, one's a rosewood that's dead.
Right.
I've got to put a bid out for another one because somebody didn't show up that Dee had contacted, so I'm waiting for a third.
What are the bids so far?
Outrageous.
But they're,
1,800 a tree.
That's ridiculous, we were quoting
Thank you.
1,500.
Yes,
well,
thank you.
If we only did one.
Thank you.
Now we're giving them,
Thank you. The cheapest.
18 and they wanna charge us 300 more per
I did the
tree.
math at work today. To do 19 trees,
But we're
1,800
discussing
each.
trees right now.
Just the 19, the 18
it's
and
the
the
ones that
one.
are causing issues
But,
and the one
But I
that's dead.
want to show you on 51st why I think the one they marked should not be cut down. There's one that's more problematic.
But what is it that,
what Dee Dee and I saw when we looked at that tree, you're right, it has been repaired,
Right.
but the roots are growing right toward it again, and we
But the one
felt, well,
across the street is tipping, the fire hydrant is tipping.
Yeah, well, that
That's the important one
that
to
one's
me.
gotta go, but
Well,
we
let's
thought,
do that one first.
Yeah.
Switch them and do that one first, and 6 months from now, do the other one.
yeah,
Let's protect the
yeah,
homeowners.
we'll make sure we get the one you want.
Yeah, I'm just the fire hydrant.
Okay,
Let's do
here-
that.
All right, now,
question?
what about insurance bids? Did we get any yet?
No, not yet, because there's been confusion with the, one guy went in, we've got our Terry Crawford. Is our
Yeah, Terry
rep.
Crawford, yeah, been with us 20 some
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
And he sent me an email the other day, or last week, that said he got locked out of, that they wouldn't, one of the other companies that Dee Dee had reached out to, or that had reached out to Dee Dee, and she said, yeah, locked him out. So he couldn't go in and get prices from other companies that he wasn't already with. So I had to do, or we had to do up a letter, that's the letter that you signed, saying that he is our agent of record, and to let him access. So apparently these insurance agents are really backstabbing.
You bet, they're all
ways
out,
of-
they're all out
yeah.
for what they can get.
So we're trying to keep it open so that we can get, so I've got one insurance agency that's working on it, the one that had blocked Terry. He's still working on it. I've got to get a hold of
Now,
another
they
one.
know that we need to get this quickly
Yes.
because we have to make a decision by December
But
1st.
December, yes. That's-
Well, by the budget meeting, right? By the
Yeah.
November budget meeting, when we vote, approve or don't approve the budget.
But I'm saying, we even have to get it into the insurance
Yeah,
company by
yeah.
December
Yeah,
1st.
because you're,
So,
Well, they
All right.
increased this last year, what, $5,000 was it? They increased this last year?
they increased it, I can't remember how much, Randall, but I know it went
It
up.
wasn't dramatic when you divided it by
It was like
524.
5,000.
Yeah, last year.
Are you talking about last year?
Yeah, how much did it go up? Randall thinks 5,000 approximately?
Let me see what I can find here. You guys go ahead, I'll find it and then I'll cut in.
All right.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll move on to old business. And the first thing that we need to discuss, and Randall and I have discussed it, and I've discussed it with David, that the use of treated pine would save us a lot of money. I had thought that we agreed that we were going to use treated pine.
we did,
but-
we voted it.
No, we voted on
But
cypress.
I asked Michelle, and she
White
thought
pine,
we
no, we
did.
voted on white pine for the top
Can you let him
boards.
finish,
Well, for
please?
the
I'm
top,
gonna
yeah,
finish.
for the top
Well,
rails.
I happen
But
to.
we're talking about the slats. I thought we had agreed on treated pine.
No.
No, we did.
No.
We said it was
Okay.
gonna be the cypress.
And,
Right,
right, and the cypress,
right.
since we're using an oil-based stain and paint, it's overkill. And they, the experts, I guess, the so-called experts say, treated pine does not have to, all it needs to do is dry out, because when you get it, it's gonna be wet from being bundled up. Once it's dry, you can seal it and paint it with no problem. So my thoughts are, we're gonna save, according to what Randall's figures show, a minimum of $16,000 by using treated pine. So it's a board decision.
May I ask
May
a
I-
question?
Yeah, I have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Joe. Currently, the fences in existence are cypress, correct? Not treated pine?
They're both. Any
No, no,
repairs,
but when they were built by Reichert.
well, when they
they
were
were
built,
cypress.
they were cypress.
Yeah, well, I've only had 2 boards replaced in all the
Yeah,
years,
but
so.
most of the boards that have been replaced with
With
treated
crappy
pine.
pine by R&R and those various jokers.
Yeah.
Well, that answers my question, because I was concerned about the mixing of repairs to the fences, and
Right.
when we begin the cover-up, are they gonna blend?
They assure us that Randall knows more about this than I,
Mine
but
do. I mean, I've replaced a few boards since I've.
I have no experience with that, because my fence is still.
I mean, because I was flip-flopping. I was like, you
Got
know,
2
I
boards and a
wanted
new
the
gate.
cypress, but then when they finally gave me the damn price, because they would never give me a price because of fluctuating, you know,
it's a fluctuating market.
It's
yeah.
double. It's instead of, $1.30 or so, it's $3.43 that they finally, because I was said I'm ready to place an order. Well, they finally gave me a price. So $3.43. That's more than double. So that changed. That was $16,000 more. So it's just a matter of, and the thing is with cypress, I mean, cypress is a type of wood where, it's just its properties alone and why it's so expensive. It's a harder wood, so
Right.
therefore it should last longer,
Right.
That's if you're not doing anything to it. That's if you're just leaving it out there in the weather. It's going to last longer than an inferior piece of wood, right? But we're painting it. We're actually protecting it, either one, whether we use a crappy piece or an old piece. I mean, not that pressure treated pine is crappy, and that's the point, that's why it is pressure treated, because it kind of equals out any other, say, superior quality wood, such as cypress or something else that you might use. But if you're painting it, what's the difference? Because you're protecting it either way.
Well, it does add, when you use pine and you're cutting in trimming, those edges need to be redressed,
Right.
okay?
Well, the only thing you're cutting is the top. I mean, you're talking about...
No, the sides of the slabs.
Well, but we're gonna repair it before we paint or seal.
We're power
Right,
washing
there are
first
certain
and then
pieces that are
repair.
going to be repaired, you're going to be doing on the top trim, okay, which we said was going to be treated pine from
White
the
pine,
beginning.
white pine, yeah.
If there are any cutting on those edges, those cuttings should be cut so that they're cut with a bevel, not a flat straight edge.
You mean
Because if you
the
do
picket, the fence picket?
the top
Or the
rail,
top rail? Oh, yeah, because you wanted the guys to like kind of bevel, give it a bevel
to
there.
bevel it, because the water runs off it,
Yeah.
and if you don't do that, you're going to get curling. You will get curling, and if you do cut it, you need to treat that edge. They've got to splash that with some sort of sealant, just to give it an extra.
Well, we're using
get
an
the
oil-based primer.
It'll be the
Yeah,
primer.
yeah, okay, but the wood is pressure treated. So what I'm saying is, it may not seep all the way through. Pressure treating is usually more surfaces and it doesn't get into the real core, okay? If you cut through it and expose that, you're gonna expose it to rot and curling. It'll get damp, especially down here, okay? I know it does it up north, it'll do it down here. So I'm always making the judgment that, or expressing myself, saying that if we're doing this, and it's not a lot, but be aware that if they're going to do trim like that, they've got to do that dressing. And really those edges on that square cut, when they do that, that really should bevel. Because the water then will roll off and doesn't stay on it. Okay?
Yeah, and just a thought about the money, Joe. I agree with you totally on the cypress, the value of it, the reason why it's used. But here's the other thought, is that if you divide $16,000 by 524 units, it's not dramatically much more to have the cypress, which is what...
Well, it's $51 per fence, $51.
Yeah,
per fence.
but for example, as we're just saying, my fence, Natalia's fence is original, mine is all but 2 boards are original. Joe's is original, right?
Well,
Except for a
it's
couple of
aged.
boards.
Mine just have a couple that I
Okay,
that
so
I
why
replaced with
won't we-
pressure treated, and it looks the same. You don't even notice
And
it.
mine's all original,
Mine's like it's
except
brand
the top rail and the gate.
I'm good for that.
Yeah,
I'm good
yeah.
to go with the pine. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not
because
for the pine either.
even if,
I'm for
the
cypress.
point that Joe made is a good point, that if you cut it and you're exposing some unpressurized
He's talking about the top
wood.
Yeah, top rail, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
top
He's
rail.
talking about the top rail.
Yeah, well, even so, the top rail, if water lays on it, wouldn't the fact that we're gonna use an oil-based primer let
Gonna
the
seal
water
it.
beat up instead of penetrate?
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
but
of
if the
seal.
edges are exposed and they're not
Right.
sealed,
If it,
they will absorb the water, and I don't give a damn what you think.
Yeah, well, that's why we're gonna paint it,
Okay.
treat it and paint it before, you know.
Okay,
All right, so at any rate,
Excuse me, she's trying to talk, she keeps waving.
go ahead, Natalia.
Oh, yeah.
no, I already let vote for that. If you-
Yeah,
when
okay,
it-
that's what I'm saying. So,
treated
Oh,
pine.
wait, Michelle has something to say.
Yeah.
go ahead, Michelle.
My pressure
The
treated.
majority of the fences, correct me if I'm wrong, the
18
majority of the materials used on the fences currently are probably about
Screw
7
down.
years old, right?
Fences were done, no, the fences are about 12 years old now.
More than that,
Right?
because mine
12 or-
was 2006, it was already gray, so.
Well, Reichert did them.
Now, what we're trying to do now is
I
extend
still
the
have the
life
contract.
expectancy of the fence.
Right.
We put a pressure-treated pine board on there, and we paint it. It should last as long as the rest of the fence, which
Right.
might be,
And
we'll
it's
get, got 5 to 7 years.
Hopefully.
We should be starting to talk about, I mean, I might not even be alive then, but in 5 to 7 years, we should be starting to talk about replacing the fences altogether.
Exactly.
You know?
We already talked about that,
Well,
yeah.
we're hoping we can get 8 or 10 years out of this.
No, that won't happen, but we'll get,
It will happen.
10 more years
But
won't
see, it's
happen.
like a non-issue, because if we use the pressure treated or we use the cypress, the majority of that fence is gonna get replaced. in probably 5 to 7 years. So whatever board is gonna last, or whatever, what would you say, 10 years? We get 10 years out of them, great, but whatever board.
That would be
put out
20
there,
years, 22 years, that's
Hopefully will last as long as the rest of the fence.
right,
You know,
hopefully.
or the entire thing has to be replaced. So to me, to save $16,000, not a big deal if we're just going to talk about down the line.
Could I ask a question that maybe someone here can answer, David maybe? With this treated pine versus cypress boards, is there a difference in the depth of them? You know, the
No.
thickness of them?
No, they're
Because
all,
we're ordering what we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm asking David.
Yes.
So they are,
we're ordering exactly what we have on the fence.
okay, so they will be the
Same
same
dimensions.
thickness or,
Something's going on.
okay,
Same dimensions.
all right, good, okay.
This is good.
All right, so
Okay.
I make a motion that we use the pressure-treated pine for the slats on the fence and
Pickets.
the top rail, for the pickets and the top rail.
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
All right, so we're using the pressure-treated pine.
I'm sorry about the white pine not being used on the top board, because that takes the
Okay.
most wear and tear.
Now, the concrete repairs we tabled for obvious reasons until we get to the bottom of the drainage situation.
Right.
All right, the other thing under old business, and it was brought to my attention last week, that I am a self-serving president. In the manner that I have 2 cameras in my parking lot. One was put there to watch the dumpster. It was made real clear why it was put there, because I have a neighbor who isn't quite all together, and every opportunity she got, if she got upset with us over something like living, she would go out and scratch my car. It got to the point where both our cars are scratched to the tune of over $1,000, so I just leave them like that. But a former board member and homeowner said I'm a self-serving president, and that those cameras, I either need to pay for them or move them. I made it clear neither will happen.
Yeah, I'm not even sure why you're dignifying the
Well,
conversation with the response.
we voted as a board to put cameras in as a pilot system, and we will continue that system. If we have homeowners that are having problems with dumping in their parking areas by the dumpsters, or if there's vandalism or car break-ins, like there was at one time on 62nd, and I believe up near Dominic, up in that area. The association, because we have a lot of other things going on this year, and it kind of got pushed on the back burner.
Right.
But we will buy cameras and a base station if we can find somebody in the area that is willing to monitor them and use their internet service to monitor them and provide any necessary data to the association in the event of a crime. Nothing's changed. It's the association's responsibility. I made this point to the former board member that if this is what the board wants, I'll pay for my cameras and they'll stay right where they are. And she says, well, if you let that happen, you have to let everybody in this community do the same. I said, what a great idea. Then the homeowners will be buying the cameras instead of the association. Look at the money we'll save.
Larry, I didn't realize you had 2 cameras, and I certainly think you're entitled to at least one for the association to pay for.
They come as a set.
Just let me finish. As each of us living in the community, we have, if the association will provide us somebody on each street with a camera that will benefit the association in general.
You need more than one.
Okay,
You
well,
got to
but-
cover the entire parking lot. They have a wide field of view, but one has to be angled one way, one angled the other, and you can take
But
in.
can you have two homeowners, each has one camera rather than one?
Well, then you
homeowner?
need
They
two
work-
base
They
stations.
work off this thing, they have to work off the internet.
It gets more expensive that way.
Okay, this is why I'm asking you the
Yeah,
questions.
and I can tell you this much. Before the cameras were in my parking lot, we had a car stolen out of that parking lot.
Right.
We had a lady that lived within my one camera's field of view that had all four tires taken off her car, Linda, that she passed away now, but,
Yeah, yeah.
and no more damage to my cars.
Right. No, I more
So-
than think that one camera for each required neighborhood or whatever it is. If it's a set, well then it's a set. I don't know.
It's a,
I
it's the-
can't have it because I don't have a computer at home.
yeah, but it
So,
is a
it has to be another
tremendous
neighbor.
deterrent to crime.
Right.
I've had videos of cars pulling into my parking lot at night,
And with our
spotting
new
the
lights-
cameras, turn around and leaving.
But with our new lights too, those cameras, you can see people's faces. Like you can see everything at night.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, you can see someone walking by, you can tell, you can see exactly who it is. It's just like, you see everything.
So, like I said, I'm not a self-serving president, but I am not going to be discriminated against either. So
So in other words, the camera project will be ongoing.
It's gonna
is
be
what you're saying.
ongoing,
Fine,
and-
then that's the end of it.
I mean, in Dominic's area, I think
That's the end of
Dominic
it.
could be a great candidate for cameras up there, but
Yeah, I'll take, I mean, the parking lot's on the opposite side of where my unit is, but that's not an issue, right?
it's not an issue with me and it is with Randy, so.
I did look into like a
The
Wi-Fi booster,
dumpsters are the big
be
problem.
like $100.
Yeah.
And then also, I looked into having a solar charger next to it.
Yeah, you can get solar chargers
It's like
for it.
another $75.
Yeah.
But I'd have to try that booster to see if it will actually
Yeah,
work.
I'll lend you mine if you want to try it, just to see if it works. I mean, I bought my own booster, but I just wanted to make sure that my car was protected, and I was grateful for the camera, but I paid for the booster.
And the only
but-
thing that I don't like about the camera that I didn't monitor is that I have to keep taking it down to charge it.
Yeah, and I take mine down, both of them, once a month.
That's it?
Once a month.
You've got no activity over there then.
Oh,
Well, it's a small parking area.
Yeah, mine is like, I get like
Hers is-
500 hits
hers is
sometimes.
very-
It's,
Yeah.
and it's dead.
That's why
like
Well,
it-
that's why
It's dead.
one of
You
those,
can't clear it from the base station? You have to take it down and, just,
It's rechargeable.
No, you have to charge.
Plug them in, charge them up.
You know, I have to stand
But
on a
you have-
chair, and then I have to undo it, and then I have to take it inside,
But you
charge it
can buy,
overnight.
but you can buy a solar,
Put
a
it
little
back
tiny
on.
solar
Right.
panel that connects to it and keeps it charged
Oh, because
constantly.
there's sun,
Right.
the solar, the
Why you
sun
don't
is
do
catching the
solar?
sun.
That's what you
right, yeah, the solar, that's what I would do if I were you.
Yeah.
For me, I don't need it, once
That's
a
what I
month,
would
I
do,
don't
because I
mind.
know as sure as hell I'm not going out
Well, is
there
the
to
association
charge
going
them
to pay
every
for
other
that
day.
solar panel for her?
I think, well,
I think
Yeah,
that's
we would-
fair.
We
I
would
think
pay
that's
for
fair.
it, it's only, what, 75 bucks?
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
looked-
point
I looked
is,
at it yesterday,
if,
so
for her to keep climbing up on a ladder
our
or a
level,
chair,
Right, yeah.
yeah, and fall, God forbid, and get hurt, that'll cost us a lot more than a solar panel.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to the new business.
Exactly. I'd rather spend 75 on a solar panel.
Yes, Michelle?
And make a motion, at that, so to go on record, because really the biggest problem with this whole thing was finding someone to host them.
Yes, exactly.
And getting the word out that we would do that for anyone that was interested in hosting them.
Well, but I will go one step further, because I do know who wrote this letter, who is being nameless, which I appreciate the president doing that. But that person had requested many months ago, volunteered to be the camera house. And it was never,
Okay?
that person was never contacted.
Well, but I offered her, and she says, I'll host cameras
It's
when
fair.
you pay for yours.
No, what is
Well,
that?
no, but she's
That's not the
volunteered for many months.
Let's get
We
her
don't
a
need
camera.
All right, well, at any rate,
All right, so,
Make an offer, I would make an offer and say, hey, you're welcome to host the camera, we'll buy the camera, and
then that way is covered, and that benefits us.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
some
fine,
people-
that's fair.
Does her unit face a?
Just a point of interest, did you catch any bad stuff going on with their cameras?
Uh,
I
You might
haven't
wanna
even put it up
Put it up yet?
because it doesn't work without,
What?
it doesn't work. 'cause
You're
David,
breaking up,
she's asking
Michelle.
you a question. Yeah.
I was gonna say, we might wanna add to our website and that say that we're looking for people to host cameras in problem areas.
Okay, we can do that.
And
Well-
have them contact
Property
you.
expo.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Do we want to say problem, because that's a little scary in case a potential buyer is,
They get a little pricey.
for better protection or something, or some kind of a better word than,
I think all we would have to say is something to the effect that in order to enhance the security in our community, we are extending our camera program to cover parking and dumpster areas to anybody who would like to host the cameras for the association.
And then again, the other part is that we do wanna make sure we have some kind of documentation that the people understand. If they leave, the cameras stay.
Right.
And it's association property.
Right.
And they're maintaining it, and we take care of this, and they take care of that, just to kind of spell out what the responsibilities and accountability.
Absolutely.
okay.
Okay.
Cameron sign it.
It's a camera agreement.
Right, okay, we'll get a camera agreement drawn up. All right, now the next is new business and changes to our governing documents. Now, I read every word in here at least 5 times, and I think they're perfect.
Yes.
But undoubtedly, somebody won't, so that's why we're here to discuss. I know Mary Lou expressed some concern over the language for
Immediate.
leasing to immediate family.
No, not leasing, that's the point.
Well,
That's the
or
point.
agree.
letting
Oh, good,
immediate
thank you.
family live in the unit.
Thank you.
And she thought that it went from being too strict to too vague. Well, I think it's pretty clear that if you have immediate family living there, according to what I'm reading, they can live there. But if they're there more than 30 days, you just need to notify the association and let them know roughly how long they plan on being there.
Who they are.
They're a resident.
Yeah.
And then it does state that if the unit owner is not present.
Right,
Right.
Yeah, okay.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the unit owner's home and they have somebody living in the unit, it's not an issue.
Right. Like
So-
I have my son living with me.
Right, that's not,
Okay, who's
that's not a
second
problem.
motion?
Nobody's business.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I'm second
You own
motion.
the unit, that's up to you.
Let's,
Darn straight.
let's vote.
But I think that we need to get these things passed so we can get moving on this, unless anybody has some obvious objections.
No, the only one, as I said, I read everything too several times from when we had the meeting with Rawson. And then the revised, I just think it's a little vague, I do. But
Okay, let's
I'm not
vote
gonna
motion.
go crazy.
But here, there's only one change that I suggested. And that is, and Mary Lou already knows what it is, but instead of having the board members' names, phone numbers, and email addresses,
Right,
I said,
right.
this is why we pay a management company.
Right, right. Totally agree.
Yeah, but you're also the one that said that if they do too much work, they're gonna charge us.
Well,
No, it's
for-
not.
It's not going to be, I mean, David is a full-time manager for us. His name and email and number would be the one that we would put on there.
Yes.
What do you think of that, Michelle?
And I don't think that so many people will
Yeah, no,
call.
I think we have to kind of protect ourselves, giving out our phone numbers.
honestly, you don't want your home phone or your cell phone to go to 524 people.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
It is why we pay the management company.
Thank you.
Right.
Now, they are, the board is in charge of policy, that policy, the management company is in charge of management.
Right.
So-
Correct.
Okay, so who's gonna?
So with that-
All right, so I make a motion
I'm second.
that we
Wait,
accept the revised amendments to our declaration so that we can move forward with this project.
Natalia had a question before you.
No, I'm second this motion.
Okay,
All right.
Natalia second. All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I have a question though.
Yes, go ahead.
Who's gonna revise that letter to?
Or we sent
to-
that. Can I
Oh,
see
no,
we
no,
have to
this
put
is
it
just to go
full
forward.
date?
Yeah, you will all
No,
get it.
no, no, Alan said he'd change that.
But I know we need to put it on our letterhead though before it goes out to everybody.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
So-
yeah. This was just for approval.
Okay.
We're just approving going forward now.
Yeah, so don't have
Before
our
we get the
information,
final-
yours.
Yeah.
Your
On our
personal
letterhead, this
information.
is for board.
If you will-
Excuse me,
Help
Larry,
me, man.
Dominic just thought that we were confirming,
No,
and
I
I
thought you
said,
had changes that you were gonna make and you were voting on the changes.
and I said, what
No,
we're
it's
doing
exactly
is,
how you like.
I thought
wanna
that's
see
what
the
we were doing.
changes are.
Oh, we have not approved these
It's like
minutes?
you like everything.
They're the changes you want, believe me.
yes.
Did you actually go with Randall's? With the no pet? You didn't do that one?
We didn't do the pet.
That's a big one.
Well-
You shouldn't blow that one.
Well,
So
it's
this one-
redundant,
People will
and I'll
not
explain it to you,
I will be
Dominic.
free.
I'm
It's
crossing that
redundant
out.
because if they lie to us on the application, that they're gonna now be required to fill out honestly, and we find out that they come in with something bigger, they will be evicted.
A
And
little more
If you,
teeth.
if you put it the other way, it's more of a
This-
concern for them to not even come here.
Yeah.
That's the way
Well,
I would want it.
But we have a weight limit in our bylaw.
we have a weight
Saying
limit
you
on the
would- If
regulation.
you would
Yeah.
put it in there like that, then they go look at it and go, oh, there's no pets, I'm gonna look somewhere else to go rent. Thank you.
He's talking about having a stipulation that renters.
Renters
aren't
cannot
allowed
have
to
pets.
No, that's,
I'm not talking about goldfish and shit, I'm talking about dogs,
I know what you're
okay?
talking about.
Yeah.
No,
I tell them, if
Wait a
you're
minute,
gonna do it the
Michelle's
other way.
gonna comment.
go ahead, Michelle.
Hey, Dominic, I was just gonna say that another part of that, of those changes, would be to change the ability of the association to, change, modify, or revise the documents as long as there was a quorum.
Right.
And
Right.
51% of the people that quorum, that, so we don't have to go door to door. So once we got that changed,
Right.
it would be relatively easy to change things that need.
Then we can make those type of changes.
Yeah.
The more we put in now, the more difficult it's gonna be to get it approved.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
just,
okay, all right.
just stick to the first two
Yeah.
that we were working on from day one.
All right, what
Get
are we
those
planning
done
to send
and
these
then
out
go
to the
forward.
association?
Well, I gotta let Rossa know that we approved it, and then he's gonna get it on association letterhead. And then
It'll be
will
mailed to all the
It will
owners
be given to CAMS to mail to
Right.
all the owners
with the proxy or whatever it's
with the
called.
proxy.
Right,
Once it's mailed
And are
out,
we
then we're
doing
gonna
the
have to
stamped
start
envelope?
door knocking to make sure that the people understand what they got.
right.
You all have your talking
There's
points.
no reason that anybody that's a homeowner in here would turn it down.
No, I agree with that.
It's nothing but more strength for the association to dictate who lives here.
And did we vote or agree that we will enclose a stamped,
Right.
addressed envelope?
And question.
Good.
Question about this.
That's money well spent.
If people right now buying something, it means they right now cannot rent to anybody.
No, anybody who
buy
currently is a landlord is grandfathered in.
No, I talk about if suppose person buying tomorrow.
It's not
Is
in
it
effect
grandfather?
yet.
It's not in
Okay.
effect, but I can tell you this much. I
Yeah,
did
hurry
get
up.
a letter from a guy who said he was interested in buying 1 or 2 units in here. And I sent him an email back and I said, well, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I said, but bear in mind, the board is in the process of changing our governing documents to make future rentals. A requirement of future rentals is that you have to live in a unit for 2 years prior to it being eligible to lease. I never heard anything back from him.
Of course not.
No. That's gonna end it. Right now, we're at 28% rentals.
That's lower than we were
No, we
2
were-
years
Yeah,
ago.
it's gonna take it down lower.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And-
But we were up at pushing.
That's
3.
okay, but you get anything much above that, and Randall knows, it makes it difficult for some banks to lend money.
Oh, they
Lakes
won't
of
give you a
Laguna
mortgage.
is already past the threshold. In Reynolds, they are in deep.
Who is?
Anybody who's looking for mortgages in there, gonna have a hell of a time with bankers to
Yeah.
get mortgages.
Is it
Lakes of
north,
Laguna.
north, right?
Sandalwood North.
Lakes of Laguna. And this,
Yeah.
and believe me, for the homeowners that are here, it's gonna do nothing but raise your property value.
Yeah, this is good.
No, it's very good, it's very good that,
Does anyone have any?
Yeah, I
Okay,
have some.
So that, yeah,
hold on. Could we just finish the new business quickly or rattle it off or
yeah,
are we
we're
done?
gonna, okay.
Just before, because.
Okay, the trees, the ficus removal 18+1.
Yes, can I say something about that? If you saw video, it's only really 4 trees causing problem. It's making this
Concrete.
concrete problem. Why we right now need to spend money to remove all these so many trees?
Well, I can tell you, Natalia, whatever the board decides, I'll go with. But I can tell you that I rode around with Dee Dee and looked at every one of these trees, and a lot of the ones that we marked for cutting down, the roots are going right underneath the patio of the unit. You can tell by the way they're growing, they're headed right underneath there. And
But
once they get
people
under the
not
slab,
complaining. People not complaining. In a lot of, do you know? I talk with landscapers. They told that root always looking for something soft. If they have because
grows
you
toward
can
the
see a
water.
lot of roots. What it's if they see concrete, they go like that around. They don't go through concrete because it's too hard. Because if I put on video everything, and I do not know, we have so much expenses. If we right now make special assessment
how
or
much
make
it
it
is,
more
right?
expensive.
well, we know,
Yeah,
we know we're not.
Saying.
People
we're not gonna
people
get it
will
done.
get furious, you
No,
know.
we know we're not gonna
I
get it
don't
done
think
till
we
we get a
can,
decent
I don't
bid.
think we can vote tonight because David's going out for a third bid.
We don't have any.
Yeah, we're getting.
Is
another
somebody
bid on that.
interested?
So
Is
table
somebody
this for
interested in
next
that?
month. Table it for whatever.
Okay.
Just what is problem? If somebody interested, you
Alright.
have it, maybe.
Oh, I have it, you
Yeah,
sent
yeah,
it to
yeah.
me.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you, Natalia, I'm very
Yeah.
suspicious on some of these because David come to me with a problem today that could be very well related to tree roots.
Yeah, no, maybe that a tree can remove, but rest of because people, when I did recording, people stopping us. What are you doing? And I told, we will have nice tree planted instead of this tree because they cause problems. I explained people. People were so upset that can you imagine if we remove the trees, we will not have a very good landscaping.
All right, well, let me.
No, I mean,
Here.
our tree that in front of my house.
Hold on, I gotta make a point and then I'm gonna, hold on. I'm gonna make a point and then I'm gonna
Just don't
recognize
hammer that,
Joe.
it kills my ears.
Okay.
Please.
All right, the problem that we had today is with the air conditioning drain line being broken, and the air conditioning company suspects it's under the slab. What would break a drain line under a slab? Could be a tree root. And the alternative to that is now, where do they run the drain line? I didn't even realize that the drain lines for the air conditioning go down the wall and under the slab, apparently.
Can I
I
explain
don't
where
think
they
they
go?
all do.
Well,
Do you know? I know
I don't think
100% where
so.
this goes.
I don't think
Because
they
I
all
had problems, and it's no blueprint. It's very ridiculous. We have 2 draining lines from air condition. One line go directly to the sewer,
Right.
and another go outside of the house.
Right.
And if why they have 2? So have emergency come out. And it's one what is go to sewer get blocked because of mold, because of different kind of crap there. And second go outside. They have 2 lines because we repaired it because of my air condition guy came. He could not understand what system. He dig and he found 2 lanes. One go directly to sewer. We have 2 lanes, and then nothing wrong with
We
with
just
the
spent
second
a
one.
ton of money replacing all that concrete, and they were all because of tree roots.
Right.
I mean, and
you will
I
cut-
saw them dig
A
up
lot
that-
they cut
I'm
this
talking,
tree.
hold on.
Understand, but they cut. I explain you.
But I'm
Okay,
just saying,
how you
how
decide?
much money did we just spend replacing all of that and it's only gonna get worse, and it's the sidewalks that cause tripping hazards.
All these ficus trees need to go.
But it should be a 4-year, 5-year
Well,
project.
yeah, sure.
There's
We can't
160,
do it.
160
But
of
we're
them.
only talking about what?
What are you gonna
18?
replace it
18.
with?
Yeah, exactly.
No, and
Well,
that-
replace them
well,
with
but-
something.
With what? We're gonna look like the Sahara Desert.
That's right, Joe.
We're
That's
only
right.
talking about 18 right now.
No, but it
not
doesn't matter.
160.
It's a lot of 18, it's
The
a lot.
two
Well,
that
you
you're
said,
talking
you made
about
a
on my
statement that they
street
all
are,
have to go.
Eventually.
There is no,
But they're going to be replaced. When we cut one
Larry,
down, we have to replace
You'll be
it.
long ago in a box along with all of us, okay? Before that gets to happen. The point is, you'll never be able to do that without destroying the community
Right.
for a period of time that will
Right.
make it not very attractive to anybody.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean,
Did I
agree
say
with
we're
that
going to
too.
cut down 160? I said we're cutting down 18 that are
But
threatening
18
the
is going
concrete.
lot.
Okay.
It's-
But may I
I'd like to
tell
get
you what the
recognized.
Florida
I've been
law
All
asking
right,
you.
go ahead. Let's hear
No,
Joe.
just quickly, Joe.
Yeah, just a minute, no,
Yeah,
Mary,
no, no.
Joe is
Please.
on the
Go
floor.
ahead,
I
Joe.
got the floor.
Yeah, fine, go
David,
ahead.
when we had a tree next to my unit being removed.
You know what, I have to ask you not to do that.
Mary, please.
I'm sorry, but when she does that, it
No, you're out of
affects
order.
my nervous system.
All
All
right.
right, come on. Let's knock it off here.
It does.
We had a tree removed and they did a root
I was almost killed.
cleanup.
Because she can't shut her mouth.
Supposedly, they said that they went down deep enough that it would eventually rot the tree.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen some of our vines that we have growing in Florida here, like the bougainvillea, okay? That any piece of a root that's left in the ground will reflourish and grow,
Exactly.
okay? Now, these roots are going into our drains. I've seen them. They're very obvious by my home. They're going at the house or towards the drain area.
Exactly.
If this root work that we paid for, okay, was supposed to be deep enough that what would happen, I was told by ACA that they would die, okay, they would eventually die and rot off. Is that true?
I've been told by an arborist that when you take down the ficus and stuff, the roots will continue to grow
Thank
for
you.
a year to a year and a half.
Thank you, yes.
We don't need comments on everything
Peanut
I
gallery
say,
and
okay?
everything.
Thank you. They do die eventually,
Okay.
but they will continue to grow for about a year to a year and a half because that's what they do. Ficus search for water.
Okay.
Now, again, with the ficus on 60, oh shoot, I've got a guy coming out to give me a bid on it. Ficus tree just tore up a irrigation line that runs underneath the road between
66.
66, that's where it was. Okay, we know it was the ficus line. You get a little bit of leak in the PVC, the roots find it, they get inside the fittings, and they tear it apart. It's underneath the road. $4,000 to tear out the concrete road to get the pipe, so we're looking at getting it bored, the,
Roto-rooter.
yeah.
Can they put another line sealant inside now to protect that so it doesn't get into the...
Well, what they'll do is,
Because if you got a crack, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
sometimes they can put another pipe within a pipe.
the roots are inside the pipe. What they're gonna do is completely bypass that section. Run the, or
They're gonna run
underneath,
new pipe. Okay.
and then reconnect to the
Okay.
system. I'm waiting on the bids for that.
That's
Um,
right.
And
It's
these
much
trees
cheaper
might be
than,
a lot of the problem
but
with our water
it's-
that we don't know where it's getting wasted from. It could
Well-
be going into all these water lines that,
biggest problem PVC, but this line that comes from this air conditioning unit is a copper line that comes
Right.
all the way down. If it had a small leak in it, you got the same issue. Those ficus lines, roots come in little hairs and they find it and then they get inside and they build up. Last community I was on, I had 7 in 1 year where the little bitty root finds its way up past a leaking wax ring on your toilet. Goes through the wax ring, down inside, 10 feet in, and then it decides to start growing and plug the drain lines.
Was that a poured concrete foundation?
Yes.
And poured concrete walls?
Yes.
Wow.
So you've got any penetration in your cement floor is room for that root to get in. Okay.
Yeah, and
So the ficus is one of the most invasive trees and hedges. Hedges are the same way.
Yes.
those little hedges along your fence, those can grow 100 feet. So it's not just what you see on the surface,
Right.
and not what you see damage in your driveways. It's where you see this 6-inch root across the ground and then it disappears under your foundation.
David, someday when you have time, you'll come look at my front lawn, which has a humongous ficus
Yeah.
tree. And there's no ficus tree, it was cut down 10 years ago. And that ficus root has now uprooted both of my parking spaces, because it's going toward the water.
Yeah.
So I know all about it, because
Yeah.
I used to serve on
Okay,
it.
next.
And I worked with the city arborist. What I want to just say quickly, going back to the tree placement of the trees that Joe was so, important, Joe. And according to the arborist I worked with a few years ago, we have only a limited time from when we cut down a ficus or whatever to replace it with a Florida-approved native tree,
Yeah.
such as a maple and some of the others that they approve.
Yeah.
So if we don't want to see ourselves being fined by the city for not replacing 19 trees, plus, David, before you came, other trees have been cut down and
Yeah.
not replaced.
Yeah.
We might be talking 40 trees, okay? We need to get those trees replaced before we start cutting down even more than these 18 trees.
Right.
And that's very important.
How many total trees do we need to take?
Well, it's
out?
19 on this
No,
list.
no, but how many total?
There's 160 ficus trees on the property, Dee Dee told me, I believe.
Just to inform you all, at the Property Owners Association meeting,
Oh, yeah.
the circle that we have, the turnaround, okay?
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about a tree going in there, but there is going to be a 15-foot sculpture,
Oh, God.
metal, okay? I have no idea. And we've all commented the same way. We were wondering how long it's going to take for the graffiti artist to hit it and start painting it all different issues. The artist has been selected by West Palm Beach, probably somebody's son-in-law that's unemployed.
Yeah.
Okay? And he hasn't begun it yet, so this project could be,
When are they coming back to pave it?
oh,
They've been finished now.
And the other thing I'm not happy with the city on, and you can let the POA know, is they got these signs on our grass, killing the grass, and nobody's even working there.
Yes.
Still got one more.
So they're gonna
I'm so
find
glad
them,
I
they're
live on
gonna find them in the
51st,
middle of
nowhere
that
near
circle.
that
They're there another couple days.
Hey, we have to give, are we tabling drainage approval?
Well,
and
there's
vote?
only, yeah, the drainage, I'm in favor, and I know nobody wants to spend the money, but I'm in favor of doing that 18-foot section so we can get a feel for what's going on
I agree.
under our parking lot.
I agree.
How much was that gonna cost?
$8,000.
For what area, what areas?
I would
That's a,
need, I guess, well, go ahead, other,
it's for a 30-foot section of
Metal.
metal pipe that runs under one of our parking lots. I can't remember which one, but
Yeah, let's see if I have it in my notes from last month.
it's,
yeah, okay, so if we do that, and they find out it's clear, we're good, right?
then we don't need to worry so much about the oddballs other than the ones that are obvious.
Right.
Which are all
Because,
30 of them,
all the
not
other thing I was
31.
gonna say was the whole issue is because of the drainage and the concern that there
Two
would be
good
flooding.
ones.
Well, the concern is that if that corrugated pipe under the parking lot collapses,
The parking
so
lot.
will the parking lot.
According to our August 16th, Dee Dee spoke, drainage issues, very bad. Video it before any concrete work would be done, it needs to be videoed.
Right.
One is not concrete, and that is my building, 122. It turns out that the drains are not concrete there, it's something else, I
Right, it's
forgot what it was.
corrugated metal.
But right,
Could
and
you-
they're, but anyway, the point is that Dee Dee, we all discussed, and she said a video should be taken of that
Right.
before we redo the
I agree,
concrete work.
we need to know what's there.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
So
it's
that's-
only a little
that
piece
was
of
August
corrugated,
16th.
what is go to the lake.
And the
not under the-
$8,000
It's
is
just for the video?
well, they have to clean it first before they video it.
Okay,
So they have a machine that goes in and power scrubs it,
okay.
and then they send the video cameras in and video it to see what the condition of the corrugated pipe
And
is.
that's before any repair. 8,000 just to take a
Just
picture.
to do that.
Hoi, hoi.
And
Yep.
do they-
And you got 31 of them, they're gonna have to be
Take them out, drain
replaced.
it?
Well,
If they drain it.
well, we start with,
Well, if
It can
they
be
find,
ongoing.
if they
Yeah,
find
they
that
know.
it's
I can go on for a
bad,
couple of
I
years.
believe it can be
We're
sleeved.
gonna get an assessment.
Right.
Like,
I'm pretty sure it can be
maybe take care
sleeved.
of only what has problem, not everything.
No, I think it should be done over time, just like the ficus trees and things, projects.
Too expensive.
I mean, we've never had a problem with this and suddenly it appears.
Yeah, we never had this problem. and
So,
now
so now if we have one really issue,
Well,
to me,
8,000
let's get that one done.
Yeah,
And
that's a
then, let's hope
concern.
we don't get another one for 2 years.
Corrugated metal only has about a 30-year life expectancy.
Yeah, that's
So
a
we're
concern.
beyond that now. This.
But its
community
piece
is
would go
low.
to the lake,
And
not
eight-
under the
but
underground.
Natalia, $8,000
this is
is gonna be a
one
lot
is
less
underground.
than rebuilding that parking lot, let me tell you.
All right, we have a.
So are we gonna vote on it?
Yes.
I think we
I
should.
think we should.
So I make a motion that we pay the $8,000 to have that 30-foot length of pipe under 50th Way parking lot.
It's like 51st.
No, well, what she told us in August was that she named my building, but I don't have any problem at my building, so I don't quite know what she was talking about.
Okay, well,
So we need qualification on that.
we'll get the clarification of location, but
It was that one that.
I make a motion, we spend the $8,000 to get that done so we know
Dave, you have
what
a
we
map
can
on-
look, what we're
I've
gonna
got
be
it,
looking
I
at
don't
in
have it
the
on.
future.
Culvert, not concrete.
The culvert across from your way, okay, is collapsed, okay? That's down, it's got a sump there.
Yes, but there, because somebody dig hole, it all concrete, it only piece what go inside the lake,
Yeah,
it's only
that's
corrugated
about
pipe.
a 30-foot length.
Only, but it's not 30 foot, it's much smaller.
It goes further into that.
Yeah,
Connected
no,
to
but it's
concrete.
hole you can see. But when you walk, you can see somebody dig hole. You can see concrete and piece of corrugated tube that only go to the lake. I do not know,
That
maybe
we should really-
10 meters. So how? What is?
Because her way, I know, has a concrete.
Well, why
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
we vote to approve, we go forward with it with the qualification that we identify the area and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's in Dee Dee's records, I'm sure David
Yeah,
will
I
be
mean,
able
I
to
only
get
did quick scribble notes. It must be in her minutes if we go back.
Yeah.
Or her notes tied into her minutes from August. But it
can-
was the August meeting,
Can I ask
which I probably
some
don't have here.
permission for something? I check in signs. What was posted? 17 signs and 17 posts missing. It's cost us $1,573.83. Can we check in where this signs located? Because
They're in the maintenance shed.
can
If
we-
you would like to go down,
I
you'll
would
see
like to go
everything.
down and see.
Yeah,
Is it
not a problem.
Okay.
I'll let
okay.
Edwin know that you're gonna come down and he'll make sure that you get access to it.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, we have a unit owner.
Question about the drainage.
What was that?
Yeah,
It's 17 signs what Didi
My
purchased
understanding
with Paul.
was that if those corrugated metal pipes collapse,
The outfall.
that cause flooding.
that's on the outfall pipes, the ones going into the lake.
So
But-
now you're saying though that if those pipes collapse in the parking lot,
Not, there's one section of pipe under a parking lot that's corrugated metal, not concrete.
Right.
Where the rest of the community, they're made out of concrete. There happens to be one section that nobody seems to know as to why it is when they built the place,
Yeah.
that it's metal.
Yeah, and once we know if that's in good shape,
then
at least we
worry.
know the parking lot's not gonna cave in.
Well, also, what phase it's in. If it happens to be in phase 1,
Right.
then that means that's the oldest section of the community.
Right.
But if it's my building, we're the newest
Well, I know it
phase.
goes between your building and somebody else's.
Well,
building,
then
but
we're the
I'm not
newest
sure.
We have a
phase.
unit owner that wants to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that, but to answer your question, yeah, but the outfalls, if they collapse, is what will back up and cause trouble.
But right now, it's possible that the only thing that's holding up that concrete parking lot, should it rebar and all that, is this corrugated metal pipe.
That's what they're telling us.
Okay.
It's a sleeve. She referred to it as a sleeve, a corrugated sleeve. That's the words I wrote down.
That would be the way to remedy if it's in bad shape, it can be sleeved.
It can be sleeved.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right, so then
So
that,
we can save a parking lot if it is bad by sleeving that 30-foot section.
sleeving it instead of replacing it,
Right.
which would cut the money down
Yes,
dramatically.
right, that's right.
Okay. cool.
Okay, now,
So just qualify where it is and let's start with that one.
right, okay, so I made the motion. Anybody want to second it?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we'll get that done.
Did you say aye? No? Aye, yes.
All right, now we're going to allow some time for our guests.
Michelle, did you agree with that? Did you say
Hey, who will
aye?
supervise that video?
I
It's,
don't
who will do that?
agree to paying the $480,000 to do them all at once.
No, we just said 8,000 to do the trouble one. Yeah. I wouldn't vote for that either, dear.
It's just an investigative
It's a starting place.
thing to do in order to find out if these other outfalls are potentially a really bad issue. We don't
Who
know
will
what's wrong.
supervise this video? Somebody can be with them so they can see
So
exactly.
board member and
Yes.
David should be
I
on,
will
should
be
be.
there.
Because so they can show us exactly that video, not
Yeah.
somebody else.
And it's great if you could be there.
Can we
because-
have a
Okay.
video?
Yes,
Maybe
I
a
can
unit
show
owner
you
that wants
video.
to speak.
Okay.
All right, we have.
Hello.
Go ahead.
How's it going?
Okay.
I have a question, maybe a question or an inquiry. When you were talking about the root systems, I'm 5430, but there's building 26, and I noticed that maybe a few weeks ago there was a root, and I'm not sure where it's going. I'm wondering if they can look at that, because it looked like it was going towards, like, under my patio area, but I'm not sure, so
You'd be
if someone
sure it
can look
is,
at that.
Yeah, that's where
So
they're
they
headed.
can kinda look
That's
to
why,
see
that's why
because,
we
you know,
put ribbons on
So
it.
you're-
Best way to find out is
But
just
David will
plant
It's the
David will-
patio, but it was like right under like my living room area as well too,
Want her to
where that
send you an
actually is.
email?
I think it's over there with the brick where the 26 is.
Building
Okay.
26.
Yes. And then the second one, you mentioned in regards to the different modifications that you were going to make for the renters, and I'm wondering if there's something that can be put in regards to individuals that have their 2 units, but then they have additional units that are staying with them. I'm not referring to someone who happens to have someone on vacation, or a couple of days or so. You will have them staying for months and months at a
I
time,
think you
and then
got
the
it wrong.
person will leave,
I
and then
personally-
another person will come in
Sorry.
there, and they're taking extra parking spaces. And we've already, notified, and Dee Dee has, sent information as well too, so she's aware of it. But I'm just wondering if the people will know in the beginning that you are not allowed to take 2 or more parking spaces once you are a renter. I don't know if they have to be staying there. They have to be staying there, but it's ongoing.
But we have this in.
What's the unit number?
Okay, I'm 29, it's 5433. And I'm looking there now, and there was a green truck. The green truck is gone. Now there's another Charger there, and then there was another one, and they back in. So I'm sure if you go there now.
If you will show me, like when we get home, if you show
Okay.
me where that is over there,
Okay.
because my camera shoots over that way,
Okay.
right? It shoots right
Okay.
through to
Yeah,
your unit
it's-
over
It
there.
sounds like
it's
multiple,
on- it's
rent,
on-
a family moving in and out, or friends
Yes,
moving in
it's
and out.
ongoing. It's ongoing.
Yeah.
You think they're okay, then there's someone else that.
Now, do
keeps
they
them.
hide a third car and park it like 2 blocks away or something?
Well,
You
the
see
other,
that too?
the people next to us do that.
Oh, okay. And what unit is that?
Let me see, 20, 54, 30, I'm 30, 31. 54, 30, no, 54, no, 54, 30, 30, 31, 32, 33, so that'd be 31.
31, okay. And that when you say they park a,
Too many vehicles.
Both of them have too many vehicles.
okay, so David will check that and compliance will check that.
Well, if you got
Yeah.
to make the,
It may
send
be
a
on,
violation letter, and then if they don't do anything about it, then we'll fine them.
and that's going to be in the part of the
I'm
documents.
hoping that it is, and like I said, I know people, when there was a hurricane, my sister came and she stayed with me for a few days, and I understand that people are coming out of town, but constantly, and not only that, if they're coming and they leave trash, that's on the area as well too. I mean, I want my area to be nice and clean, not where you know, my neighbors would have to go pick stuff. I'm too OCD, so I'm not picking it up, but they usually pick it up and put it in a garbage can or put it over their fence or.
Well, the thing is too, there could be a certain courtesy here where a homeowner would say, look, my granddaughter's coming, spending a month with me, so I will have a third car for a month. Here's the make, model, and plate number.
Yes.
And if I did that, that's the end of the problem.
People
Now, if
just-
30 days go by, 40 days come, and suddenly the car's still there, the association has a right to ask me.
People aren't gonna do that. They're just gonna do
I
what
mean,
they wanna
that's
do.
common courtesy. Well,
Yeah,
but
there's
we
no,
need,
that's the problem, there is no courtesy.
well, that's why we have to toughen up the things we're talking
Yeah.
about.
We'll
anyway.
Your boss there.
We'll make them courteous.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, well then, meeting adjourned.